Test. That seems... do those levels look right to you? It's probably fine. Guys, it's episode 40. Oh, it's episode 40. No, stop. You can't just because I shout. Just because I shout doesn't mean you can leave. This is episode 40. We have something to celebrate. My podcast is 4 decades old, basically. My podcast is about to go through a midlife crisis, right? My podcast is about to buy a Corvette and listen to the Grateful Dead. Because that's what people do when they turn 40. And my podcast is just going to start having aches and pains for no reason. Hey, I'm not 40 yet, but let me tell you what I did. Here's what I did the other day where I injured myself in a stupid way just because I think I'm getting older. So here's what I did. I was at a birthday party and I clapped too hard. Well, there was a bubble, you see. You see, officer, there was a bubble, and the kids were in the bounce house, and there were bubbles, and I had been consuming alcoholic beverages, so naturally, I had to clap the bubble out of the air. And yes, I got kind of a running start at it. And I clapped it out of the air, and I clapped it so good, and that bubble popped so quick, y'all. It popped so quick because I clapped it so good, but then my hand hurt so bad. My hand hurt. I looked down at my left hand and I was like, oh my God, what happened? And instantly I got a bruise. I think I have a picture of it. The picture does not do it justice. Like, it's just like a black spot in the middle of my hand. And the picture just, like, it's kind of off colored, but I swear, like 5 hours after it happened, it was like dark. It was like this dark spot in my hand, and it hurt so bad just to touch it. And it was there for like 5 days. And I'm like, that is where I'm at in life. You know, they say when you're 30s, mid 30s, late 30s, about to be 40, you just start injuring yourself just by like sleeping wrong. Like you slept wrong and now you're sore for 2 weeks. Hey, welcome to being old. Yay. Good for you. I clapped a bubble out of the air. Childlike whimsy has turned its back on me, right? I'm trying to be childlike. The White Claws definitely had something to do with that, but I'm there. I'm at a party. I'm trying to be childlike, and I clapped a bubble out of the air, and then I hurt my hand because I clapped too hard. I don't even know how it happened. Kevin's like, I'm out. I didn't check any angles or my hair or my outfit before I started filming. I hope I look fine. Yay, episode 40. Speaking of like just weird injuries. So you guys, if you're regular listeners to this podcast, you know that I've had difficulties with my ear because I have these horrible allergies and I have this all this scar tissue up in my adenoids, which, hey, here's the thing I've learned. People don't know what that is. I know the term adenoids, like I've heard it my whole life. I couldn't point it out to you on like a globe of the face. Like if you gave me like a map of the inside of a head, like a head map, I wouldn't be able to identify where an adenoid is, but I know that it's a thing. And I had my adenoids taken out, and basically they scoop them out with a spoon like your Rocky Road ice cream. So I was Rocky Road ice cream when I was younger, and they scooped out a big chunk of my adenoids and they took them out. So I don't have those anymore. And apparently the scar tissue was so bad because they did such a bad job of scooping the Rocky Road ice cream out of my head. Maybe they didn't warm up the spoon. That's what you have to do, right? When the ice cream's rock hard, you either here's what you do with ice cream. You want some ice cream, right? But it's too hard. The ice cream is too hard, but you want it now, right? You have a couple options. Either you take the ice cream out and you set it on the counter and you're like, I'm going to wait till this softens up a little bit. And then you wait too long. And then it's Niagara Falls over the side of your carton, all over your countertop. It's a sticky mess. Okay? But yet it's still rock hard on the bottom, but then the top, it's a sticky mess. It's overflowing. Not ideal, right? And also, then you had to wait. You didn't get your ice cream instantaneously. You can stick it in the microwave. Terrible idea. Don't do that. I often do that. Don't do that. Because then it's a river everywhere. It's still rock hard in the middle. It's not going to or you can take out your ice cream. You can be an adult and you can run your scoop or your big spoon under hot water. And then it'll glide. Oh, it'll glide so nice. It'll glide right through that ice cream. It'll glide right through that Rocky Road or that chocolate mint chocolate chip, whatever you fancy. Birthday cake flavor, sherbet. So that's what they probably didn't run their scoop under hot water before they scooped out my adenoids like Rocky Road ice cream. And so they left all the scar tissue. Wait. Kevin, hey. So the scar tissue apparently pushes on my ear canals, I guess. I don't know how it works. I'm not a doctor, okay? But anyway, when my like adrenaline is running or my allergies are flaring up, it like pushes on the scar tissue, which then pushes on my ear canals. And then I can't hear out of my right ear. Yay! Love not being able to hear out of my right ear. It's really great when I'm a singer. It's really great. So then I went back to my allergist today and I'm like, yo, you know how you have me on like 8,000 allergy pills? Like I'm on this whole regimen, right? I'm popping them daily. I'm popping them like they're big nerds, right? See, on episode 40, I can do that. On episode 40, I can reference other episodes because I've earned it, right? I've earned it. I'm at episode 40. I can reference previous episodes and I can reference inside jokes and not be afraid that my audience doesn't know what I'm talking about. I can say, hooey. And the regulars, they know, they get it, they know. It's so good. I can start saying, hey, you should go. I can have technical difficulties and then this can play. You should go. And the regs, they know. Dude, the regs, they know. And I love the regs. The Tempe regs are my favorite. Thank you guys for being regs. Thank you guys for coming back every week, for watching the podcast, for hanging out, for tolerating Kevin, and for dealing with my silly goose shenanigans, right? Because this is all shenanigans. I don't talk about anything serious, anything that actually matters. This is just a waste of your time and mine. But here we are. We're doing it. What was I talking about? Adenoids. People don't know what those are. Do you know that the weird looks I've gotten the last couple of months when I mention, oh yeah, I got this ear thing, and people are like, what's wrong? And I'm like, well, you see my adenoids, and they're like, is that Latin? I'm like, no. It's what's it called? The study, biology. No. What's the study of the body? It's an anatomy. It's anatomy, you idiot. As I struggle to find the word anatomy. No, but we have adenoids. We all have them, just like we all have anxiety and night terrors. We all have adenoids. They're a thing. I didn't make it up. It's not Latin. I didn't make it up. So then, okay, I know where I was going with this. By the way, adenoids are a thing. Okay, I'm not crazy. Look it up. Look it up. Educate yourself. So I go to my allergist today and I'm like, yo, bro, this is the same allergist that, God bless him, sat through me saying prednisone over and over. Because he's like, I'm going to give you some prednisone to really calm down those ear canals when you're in a sticky situation. I'm like, cool, prednisone. He's like, prednisone. I'm like, prednisone? He's like, you are worse than I thought. Just overall as a human. That's kind of the vibe I got from him. But anyway, so I was there today and I'm like, bro, Dr. Bro, help me out, Dr. Bro. My ear is going out. My ear is going out again. Can't deal with this anymore. Yay, love not being able to hear. Please help me, Dr. Bro. And Dr. Bro, he's a very nice man, and he's super smart, and I'm so glad he doesn't listen to this podcast. But he kind of looked at me today, and he's like, all right, well, we have you on every allergy pill ever made by a human. Like any doctor in the world who creates an allergy pill, you're on it. You pop them daily, like Tic Tacs. And he's like, well, what about the rest of your head? So he's like, what about your jaw? So he looks at me and he's like, I think maybe it's your jaw's fault. Like, he's just like, what? Okay, well, we can't fix your ear, but like, let's look at the rest of your face. Your jaw doesn't seem so great. So you know what he told me to do? No joke. Here's what he told me to do. He's like, here's your homework assignment. You're going to go home and you're going to watch some YouTube videos on jaw exercises that you have to do before bed every night from now on. Yay, congratulations, you. And I'm sitting there just like, I don't really want to add anything else to my to-do list every day. But okay. And he gave me like, he was like, look up like, it's like Bob and Jim's jaw routine or something like that. I'm like, I don't know that I trust a medical YouTube channel by like Bob and Jim. It's like Bob and Brian or something. I don't know what it is. I haven't looked it up because I'm not going to. Maybe I will. I don't know. I tend to be like a really good patient for like the first 2 weeks after a doctor's appointment, right? Like you go to a doctor's appointment or a dentist appointment and they're like, it's that meme where it's like, I'm jabbing this pointy object into your gums and you're bleeding excessively and that's your fault. And I'm just like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, you got to floss more. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay, I'll floss more. So for 2 weeks, I floss more. For 2 weeks, I'm the flossinest dude. I floss so hard. Motherfucker, find me. That's how hard I floss. I floss so hard, motherfucker, want to find me. And to regs, maybe that's why we got those floss sticks all on the ground everywhere. Dude, episode 40 is like a throwback. It could be a clip show. I'm tossing so much at the regs. They're like, oh, I remember that. If you do remember that, I did a whole segment on one of the episodes. Don't remember which one. But how crazy it is that like anywhere I go in parking lots, there's just floss sticks everywhere. And it's very confusing to me because who is so responsible that they're flossing on the go, but yet so irresponsible that they're like, I'm just going to litter this. So responsible to floss on the go, so irresponsible to throw it on the ground in parking lots. So next time you see a floss stick, I want you to think about me. Okay? From now on, and if any of you see a floss stick, it looks like this. It looks like this for the audio viewers. I'm doing sort of a C with my hand, and my arm is bent sort of at an angle, and like here's the string. It's like a C with a string and a stick, and that's a floss stick. And when you see that, you're gonna think of me forever, and you're gonna think, okay, so this is a really special episode. I'm really glad you tuned in. Not like that crap episode with Brendan last week. Actually, it was a really good episode. I always love having Brendan on. Because, there's only so much crazy I can offer you guys solo, right? There's a lot of solo crazy. It's sometimes nice to have another person here to just do silly stuff with. But anyway, here's what I'm bringing you this episode. And I thought about this 5 minutes before I started recording. So there's no preparation involved. But this is Temperamental Unsolved Mysteries. That is not the theme song what is that? That's from the one show with Scully. What is that? What's that show? Why can't I think of it? The Simpsons parodied it. And they're alien hunters and they hunt, and it's David Duchovny, and it's the woman is Scully, and that's a show that I can't think of the name of, and you're all screaming right now. You're all on your short drive to your job and you're like, this is the name of the show you're thinking of, and I'm like, I can't think of it. You know why? Because this is episode 40 and we have aches and pains now. What is it called? What is that show called? What is the show called, Kevin? That's the theme, right? And it's like paranormal crap. I gotta move on. Gosh, I'm so dumb. Dude, you have these moments where you're just like, I'm so dumb. Like the time that dude, this is a clip show. I'm not even going to put the actual clips in. I'm just going to reference the clips and then call it a clip show. It's like the time when I tried to convince my daughter there were 52 states. And I was so convinced there was 52 states. There's not. There's 50. And good. Dude, Kevin's taking a poop. Kevin's pooping. He's in the litter box. He's scratching. That is a regular thing that happens here on Tempe. The regs know it's happening. This is the greatest episode of all time. Riley's here. All we need is Girl Kevin. Girl Kevin! Wow, that was really annoying probably for you guys in the microphone. In the microwave, as I called it last week. This is a clip show. Anyway, here we go. This is Temperamental Unsolved Mysteries. Welcome to Unsolved Mysteries. Today's Unsolved Mystery is regarding the movie Master of Disguise, starring Dana Carvey. Okay? I was in this movie, but also I wasn't. I was in this movie, but also I wasn't. And the whole situation at the time was very confusing. But when you're a child, lots of things are confusing. You have very little context for a lot of things when you're a child. I think I was 12, 13, 14, somewhere in there, right? Very little context. And, a lot of things in my early career of being a child actor, things are just like the entertainment industry is weird and things happen and you're like, okay, you just kind of go along with a lot of stuff because you're a kid. I mean, that happens even outside the entertainment industry. Just like at all times, you're just like, okay. And you just go along with it because you're a teenager and you're like, whatever, mom. And you just do it. And then later in life, you'll reflect. You'll do some reflecting. And in your reflecting, you're like, that makes sense now. It's like Olaf, bro. Olaf had it totally right. When you're older, absolutely everything makes sense. This is fine. He's 100% right. It does make sense later in life. But sometimes it doesn't. And this is one of those times where it doesn't. Not only does it not make sense, it makes less sense now. Thinking about this whole thing makes less sense now than it did at the time when it made no sense. So let me break it down for you. The Master of Disguise was a movie in the early 2000s. I can't give you a date because I didn't look it up. And I have a terrible memory because this is episode 40 and my podcast is 4 decades old. Kevin, can you stop? Can you stop? Dude, who poops that loud? For real. Stop. Chill. Come here. Are you going to be part of the show? Or are you going to not be part of the show? I'm trying to do Unsolved Mysteries right now. I'm trying to sing that theme song from the show that I can't remember the name of, that everybody's screaming in their cars right now on their short drive. Come up here. Come up here. Okay. So Master of Disguise was a comedy movie starring Dana Carvey in the early 2000s. And at the time, it sort of gained a cult following for being horrendous. I remember that like my IMDb and my Wikipedia and things online said that like, oh, Lisa Foyles was in The Master of Disguise, and all of my friends ridiculing me because they're like, cool, you were in like the worst movie of all time. It probably has negative Rotten Tomatoes scores, right? Like it's probably in the negative. But honestly, it did gain this cult following, right? Because Dana Carvey is insanely funny and insanely talented. And he did all these crazy characters, most notably the turtle guy. Remember he was like, turtle. And he like had this big coat that kind of looked like a turtle, and he was bald and he kind of looked like a turtle. And that's as much as I can tell you about the character, is that he kind of looked like a turtle. I like turtles. But of course, before the movie was made, I didn't really know anything about the movie. Obviously, it hadn't been made. Couldn't watch it. It was a script at that point. So me and my fellow All That cast members, I don't know why it wasn't the full cast. Maybe it was scheduling conflicts. I don't know. But I think it was off season. I think it was between filming season 7 and season 8, right? Maybe during our hiatus. Bye, Kevin. So we get a call. And the call is, hey, some All That cast members have been asked to be in the movie Master of Disguise with Dana Carvey. And I'm like, what? Why? And they're like, well, you rehearse this day and you film this day. And I'm like, yeah, but why though? And they're like, well, those are the days you film and rehearse, so be there. I'm like, cool. So there wasn't really any kind of answer. Just all of a sudden, we were called up and we were in a movie. That doesn't normally happen to D-list celebrities or whatever we were at the time, right? Like, it's probably normal for, like, big celebrity. Like, they call Chris Pratt and they're like, hey, they need you to appear in Jurassic Park 85. Wait, he was already in those movies, so it doesn't really matter. We want you to appear in The Matrix 20. Because in my hypothetical situation, they've made 20 Matrixes and now they call Chris Pratt and he's like, cool, I'll be there. And that's totally cool. It's totally normal because he's famous and they're like, come be in this movie. And he's like, I'll do it. But when there's a big famous movie with a big budget with famous people like Dana Carvey and Jennifer Esposito. Gosh, she's so beautiful. Dana Carvey, Jennifer Esposito. And they call you up and they're like, you're in this movie. And we're like, do we have to audition? They're like, no, you're in it. I'm like, okay. Interesting. Okay. So we just go along with it. So we go to rehearsal. There's a rehearsal. It's like at this hotel. They've set up the set in this big, like, ballroom of the hotel. So if you remember the movie, which you don't, Maybe you do. I don't know. But there was like this toy fair, and one of Dana Carvey's characters was this like toy guy, and he kind of talked like this, and he's like goofy and has a mustache. That was the worst impression of that character, by the way, like really, really bad. They're doing I don't even remember the plot of the movie. Him and Jennifer on shenanigans, some kind of heist. I don't know. They're caught in trouble. They're on the run. I don't know what it was, but they're one of his characters. It's called Master of Disguise. So you can understand that he puts on disguises for his shenanigans. And one of the characters was like at this toy fair. Oh, like an expo. Oh, toys. Oh, like a Comic-Con. And so our role was to run up to him as his character and say, hey, that dude stole our booth. And then we're like, yeah, he sure did. He stole our booth. But we're supposed to be carrying all that merchandise. Like all that t-shirts and stickers and hats and stuff. So us, five cast members from the show All That, playing ourselves in a movie with Dana Carvey, are supposed to run up to Dana Carvey's character and say, hey, this guy stole our booth. And then he goes, time to run away. And then he runs away, and he runs past a booth that has like a giant All That sign. And I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm going to get back to there. But let's go back to the rehearsal day, right? So we show up for rehearsal. No idea what's going on. We've been called to be in a movie. Here we are. And when you're a child actor, you can't just show up and do a thing. You have to have like a certain amount of hours of school. Like if they're going to book you for any kind of job and you're a child, you can't just go do the job and then go home or go back to school. You have to do school on the set. So we all had to go and be in their little makeshift schoolroom for several hours before we could even rehearse for an hour. And if memory serves right, this poor school teacher on this movie set was not prepared for us. Okay. So if you're familiar with the show All That and just Nickelodeon as a channel in general, they tend to cast very hyperactive children. And we were the most hyperactive of all. Dude, me and my cast, we were bouncing off the walls 100% of the time. Totally sober. Like now give me a couple of those White Claws and I'll be clapping bubbles out of the air and I'll be bouncing off the walls. But back then, we were just kids. We were just kids being kids, bouncing off the walls, telling jokes, couldn't settle down, just ADHD out of control. And we went through on our set like 6 set teachers throughout the 4 seasons of the show that I was on. Something like that, which is insane. Usually you have like one set teacher that lasts through the whole run of the series. We had like 6. And it's because they kept not wanting to be around us because we were so insane. We were crazy, and the boys would play so many pranks on them that the teachers were like, I'm out. I ain't getting paid for this. I'm going to go work on Law and Order. I'm going to go teach the one kid on Law and Order who has to cry in one scene. I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go be with that kid instead of these 7 insane people. That was us. We were insane. In fact, maybe I'm like totally tattling right now, but like I was kind of a tattler when I was younger. So it tracks. I'm pretty sure that Jack and Kyle and Shane came up with an unsolvable math problem that they would present to our teachers and be like, hey, can you help us solve this? And I don't remember how they presented it. Something like, this is like the hardest math problem ever. Like, I don't know how they presented it, but I know that it worked like 3 times in a row. And it would drive each set teacher so crazy. Like, I remember I'd walk in and this teacher would be like over in the corner, like trying to work out this math problem. And they'd be like, like giggling. And I'm like, you guys are mean. Actually, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. But yeah, we would just torment them. We would just torment them, just not because we were mean, but just because that's just who we were. Naturally, we were crazy. So I remember this particular school teacher on the set of Master of Disguise. Can I say it again? On the set of Master of Disguise was like, you guys need to stop. You guys need to stop. Can you all stop? Just having the worst time, really having a bad time trying to deal with us. So that poor man, that's not what he signed up for. He signed up to be a school teacher on a high budget Hollywood movie, multi-million-dollar budget Hollywood movie. And he got stuck with us, 5 kids from all that who didn't know why we were there. So we go to rehearse. We torment the school teacher. We go to rehearse. Where am I at? 25. Okay, good. I got 5 minutes to tell the story. I'm on time. Okay. So we go to rehearse. We meet Dana Carvey. We're losing our minds because all of us, even though we were crazy teenagers on Nickelodeon, we all had a deep respect for comedians of the past. Not that makes it sound bad. That makes it sound like they're all dead. But like people, the generations before us, like the early SNL characters, you know, those classic comedians, classic comedy movies, like we all had this deep love. So of course, all of us were crapping our jammies that we got to meet Dana Carvey. The Dana Carvey. Dude. He's a legend. He's a legend. He was in Wayne's World. I think I even said that to him. Like, I really liked Wayne's World. He's Garth, dude. Dude, we got to meet Garth. And I remember we're going to the set. We're all jittery because we're like, oh my gosh, we get to meet Dana Carvey. Not only do we get to meet him, we get to work with him. Oh my God. And we go up to Dana Carvey and he's so sweet. He's just like, he's got his little coffee cup and he's got his little smile. I wish I could do the Dana Carvey smile. He's kind of like a little mouse. He's like kind of like a little mouse man. Very intimidating because of his comedy stature, but also he's a little mouse man. And he was so sweet to us, you guys. He was so sweet and he talked to us and he hung out with us. I mean, like on the set, like he was, you know, he took all our stupid questions. He answered anything we had for him. Like he was so sweet. And then we rehearsed the scene and dude was so funny, right? Like he knew his lines and he was super sharp, but he was also ad-libbing and he was adding character stuff and he was talking to the director. And I was just in awe. I'm like, this is a movie star right here. It's just, he was on another level. And at that point, we had all been on a lot of sets. We'd worked a lot of jobs. Obviously, we were series regulars on a show. So like we knew what we were doing, but you're in the presence of Dana Carvey. He's on another planet. He's on another comedy planet. He's wired different than people. He just is. And a lot of these comedic geniuses, they just are. They're just wired different. I truly believe you have to be born with that like weird comedic ability. I don't think it's learned. I mean, I think you can learn to be funny, but I think some of these really special comedians, I really think they're just born that way. They're just blessed. It's their gift. It's what they're supposed to do. So we do the scene. It was so much fun. We're on cloud 9 and we're like, cool, can't wait to film this. So we come back in a couple days. We film it. We're on set. We're all in costume. We have all that merchandise. And we do the scene. You know, Dana Carvey's in his, they call it like a fat suit, right? He's in these prosthetics to make him look like a large man with his funny mustache. And the set is elaborate. It's, you know, there's these giant toy soldiers that he knocks over and this whole thing. And he's ad-libbing and he's being amazing. And yes, we get to do this scene with him and it's great. And I'm also thinking, well, actually, at the time, I only thought about this a little bit. But now looking back, I think about it way more. Why were we in the scene? Why were we holding all that merchandise? Why was there a booth with an All That logo behind it? Because again, we run up to him and we say, this guy stole our booth. And then he gets scared and runs away. So just in the context of the story, why did we accuse him of stealing our booth if then he runs by a booth that has the All That logo on it? Wouldn't that be our booth? So then what did he steal? Did he really steal anything from us? And then also, why would the All That cast members have a booth at a toy expo? Like, is our show hurting so bad that we're like, hey, go to these toy expos and set up a booth and have a banner and shirts and hats? Like, what? Just in the context of the story, that doesn't make any sense. And then on top of that, getting even more real, why did they pick a real live TV show like All That on Nickelodeon to then appear in The Master of Disguise as almost like product placement? I mean, it was a well-known show, but like, we weren't A-list celebrities. Why though? So why were we in the show in the first place, playing ourselves, representing our show on Nickelodeon in this high-budget, multi-million Hollywood movie? multi-million-dollar Hollywood movie with Dana Carvey and Jennifer Esposito. Why? It doesn't make sense in the story. It doesn't make sense in real life. None of it makes sense. But again, we're teenagers. We're hanging out with Dana Carvey. We don't really question it. We're like, cool, it's fine. It's done. We did it. It's awesome. Great experience. Everybody on the set, amazing. Great. So then months go by and they invite us to the premiere. Or I think it was like a screening. I don't think it was the official premiere. I think it was like the big cast and crew screening. We get invited to the screening. We get all dressed up. We show up. We're like, yeah, here we are at our movie premiere / screening. And then we're sitting in the audience watching the movie. And that scene comes and goes. And we weren't in it. The Toy Fair scene comes and goes. And we weren't in it. So then we're all kind of sitting there looking at each other like, okay, well that was where we were supposed to appear. We didn't appear. We weren't there at all. We were cut out of the movie. So then, again, I didn't really think too much of it at the time because I was a dumb kid and I'm like, well, I guess these things happen. We had often seen people get cut out of our show. You know, I tell the story about Debbie Gibson was like, she got cut out of some of our episode and we always felt really bad about that. I don't know. People get cut out. It happens. So at the time I didn't really think too much of it, but now, hey, why did you invite us to the screening of a movie you cut us out of? Why did you invite us to a screening of a movie that we didn't even know why we were appearing in the first place, to a movie that it didn't even make sense for us to appear in the first place, and then a movie that we got cut out of? Why are we here? What is going on? None of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. However, we did appear in the deleted scenes of the DVD. And it's also on YouTube, so I will play that for you right now. Roll 'em.
Here's the guy. He stole our boot.
Yeah, he sure did.
Well, there's nothing more to say than run away. Run, Jennifer. Run away. Oh, goodness, Jennifer, run. Oh, goodness. Oh.
So you see what I'm talking about. And audio listeners, just YouTube it or just watch the video on YouTube of, like, YouTube the deleted scenes of Master of Disguise, or watch this video, whatever. Just you just got to see it. It's just so confusing, right? Like, I can't think of other movies where like a real life show would like have its product placement like in the movie and have it make sense. I don't know. Maybe did somebody lose a bet? I have so many questions. How did this come about in the first place? Right? Because I don't think it wasn't a Nickelodeon movie. I know how they do that, like cross promotion, right? They're like, hey, let's take characters from one Nickelodeon show and put them in this other Nickelodeon show. And that's how we have like iParty with Victoria's. We're all cross promoting. Look at us. It'd be one thing if like we appeared in Big Fat Liar with Frankie Muniz and Amanda Bynes. It's like, like that kind of makes sense, right? It's all in the whole sphere. It's in the Nickelodeon multiverse. But this was a totally different thing. This was Paramount. I don't know what it was, but it wasn't related to our show at all. We didn't know anybody on the set. I have no idea how this came about, because I'll tell you what didn't happen. What didn't happen was the writers were sitting there writing this script and thought to themselves, wouldn't this be a cool time for 5 members of the cast of All That to appear in our movie with their own merchandise and accuse Dana Carvey of stealing their All That booth? I'll tell you, that didn't happen. Our scene was shoehorned. Why? Why was it shoehorned? Who thought of it? Who pushed for it? Who approved it? Why did it happen? Then why were we cut out? And then why were we invited to the screening? This is a temperamental unsolved mystery. X-Files! X-Files! It's the X-Files! It's the X-Files. It's the X-Files. Thank you guys for watching episode 40 of the X-Files. Thank you for watching episode 40 of the X-Files. Thank you for watching episode 40 of Temperamental Unsolved Mysteries, the X-Files. I remembered the show and I'm really proud of myself, so you guys can stop screaming at me now. thank you guys for sticking with me for four for 4 decades of Temperamental. Thank you for sticking with me for 40 episodes of Temperamental. I've said this before. It's pretty cool that only like, I don't remember. It's like 90% of, 90% of podcasts don't go past 20 episodes. I don't know what 99, I don't know what the stat is, but I'm really proud of myself for making it this far. Thank you guys. Thanks to the regs for always checking back. Thank you to the new listeners for tuning in and giving me a chance. I appreciate you. Is every episode this unhinged? Yes, it is. Is every episode this silly and insane? Yes, it is. If that's your cup of tea, come on back. I'm brewing more. If it's not your thing, that's cool. I get it. I'm not for everybody. But I just can't thank you guys enough. I wish I had more of like some crazy crap to happen for episode 40, but maybe episode 50. Maybe I'll do something crazy for that. But thank you guys. You're the best. Subscribe, like, leave me comments. I love your comments. Keep coming back for more. And I just love you. I love you and appreciate you. Goodbye. Is that even the X-Files theme? Like, am I just so off? I don't know anymore. Kevin, brew me some tea.